Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get-started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack News. Sack News.
Radio.
Sack.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sackheads Radio Show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. No, it really is. I've been a big fan of the show for a long time.
And I'm glad.
And I'm so thrilled to actually have an opportunity to sit here and be one of the Sackheads or one of the Sack Pack, if you will. I'm excited. So thank you.
I'm really glad you were with me.
I'm always with you. Except for when I'm not. But other than that, I'm always right here.
And usually that means you're right there.
Right.
Welcome to everyone filing into the chat room. If you're listening and you're not in the chat room, shame on you. shrmedia.com. Click live chat on the left. Exclusively on Spreaker now. Which is we're pretty excited about. First of all, it makes my job a hell of a lot easier now.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, because look, we were going through like a bottle of bourbon a week.
An hour.
No, a week. Let's not embellish. But it's one night because it's show night.
Right.
And that was all you. When I say we, I mean you. So now I'm glad to see there's going to be a little bit left for me.
Well, listen. There's a lot left for you if you can get the bottle out of my hands. I've told you that. This is not my fault. This is not my fault.
But what's weird is
it.
You actually quoted Charlton Heston said from my cold dead hands like a couple times when I just asked you to pour me a shot.
And then
I was like, pour me a shot. You were like, no. How about a couple fingers? You're like, no. Get your own bottle.
When I write Moulin Labe on it.
Right. Right. You like colored a Gadsden flag? I'm like, what is this? It's freaking bourbon.
I actually made a bunker in the corner of the office.
I know.
You can't see it.
I know. Like rubber band guns all set up. It's ridiculous. I'm like, I'll just go.
Crumpled paper cannon.
Yeah. I'll just go spend the $25 and go get a different bottle, I guess.
Well, that's fine. If you want to get your own, this is mine.
But it's not yours. It's ours.
Listen.
It's community property. 50% of that bottle is mine.
Well, that's not entirely
And
true.
hang on. And we don't work it where the liquid inside is yours and I get the container.
Damn it.
It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. Clint is turning socialist, everyone in the chat room.
Hello, California.
I know.
Equal share.
Equal everything.
No fault.
No fault.
No fault.
Nobody's at fault for anything.
Nobody's at fault for anything.
It doesn't matter what you want to do, rob a store or whatever. You're not at
right.
fault. It's everyone else's fault.
Right. We're going to start treating crimes like divorce here. Right. You can go out and bang whoever you want and destroy a family, and you're going to go ahead and get screwed over because your spouse was an asshole, and then you still have to pay, even though you did nothing wrong and didn't want to end the family. We're going to start treating that like robbery. So the robbery victim is going to have to pay for half the damage caused by the robber. So if the robber goes out and there's a pursuit and he crashes and there's a bunch of property damage, the person who got robbed is going to have to cover half of that. Because we're a no-fault state, folks.
None at all.
Let's treat our criminal law like we treat our family law.
Hey, on an up note,
That is an up note.
Powerball.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a game I like to play. You're not talking about that.
I have the winning numbers.
I apologize.
Everybody in America, with the exception of Kel Fritzy, all of our other listeners here in America. Kel, our Canadian friend, I don't know what you guys have. It's probably like Friendly Ball or something like that.
In America, it's Powerball.
It's Powerball, baby. We're all about the power.
Maybe it's like Maple Ball.
Are you ready?
Yes.
4,
I'm out.
8, 19, 27, 34. And the Clint ball is 10.
10!
So if you have 4, 8, 19, 27, 34 in the power Clint ball of 10, you are probably not listening to me anymore and jumping around hysterically, hoping you're going to write your check to Sackhead Sean at shrmedia.com.
Right.
Now, if you do have it, congratulations. Just remember, we've always been there for you. Clint and I, not Sacco. Remember,
Not Sacco.
He got out.
Yeah,
he got out.
Sacco left, if you recall.
So that's the big Powerball. It'll be interesting to see if anyone hits. It's up to what? 1 billion?
A lot.
Yeah, some ridiculous.
Yeah, it's up to a lot of money. If you want a specific figure, look it up yourself. But it's a lot of money.
It's an ass ton. I think
Literally.
I think it's
Literally an ass ton.
of
Yeah.
money that could possibly be. A couple other things we want to talk about tonight. The top 10 things overheard at the State of the Union, with the exceptional one, Ken McClinton, being an audience. And a lot of people didn't get these. Obviously, the president didn't repeat them.
Hang on. What numbers did you say? 8, 27, 34, 4, 19, and 10?
4, 8, 19, 27, 34, Powerball.
Hike.
Was that whole setup for that?
No, I was actually just looking because I didn't remember hearing the 4 in there.
I told you 4.
I don't pay attention. Why would they call the 4 out of order?
Apparently in Canada it's called back bacon ball.
Bacon ball.
Where the numbers agree. So you learn something new every single day. Did you buy any? And I've asked a lot of people this question because Dan Butcher, our good friend over at High Plains.
Now Taxes is 100% free when you file in the TurboTax app if you didn't file with us last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just do your own taxes in the app by 2/18.
What if I have lots of forms?
All good, all 100% free.
What if I had 3 jobs?
Still 100% free.
What if I once saw Bigfoot?
That has nothing to do with taxes, so still 100% free.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now this is taxes. See if you qualify in the TurboTax app. Excludes TurboTax Live, must start and file in app by 2/18.
The amazing Dan Butcher is, I'm being told I have to call him legally now. He must have changed his name.
Oh.
Actually was in a store today, and when he was finishing his purchase, the clerk said to him, "Would you like to buy a Powerball ticket?" And he said, "No, I don't play the lottery." And at which point she unstrung her shoelaces and attempted to commit suicide. Now, apparently out of disbelief that somebody would dare not play the Powerball with it this high. Did you play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played. And
Did you win?
I haven't looked yet. I was too busy reading the numbers for our listeners.
Well, look.
Unlike you, who pulled it out immediately.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The ticket. The ticket.
The Powerball.
Not the Powerball.
No, you took the Powerball out immediately.
I did.
By the way, mutual friend says hello.
Oh, who?
Named Court.
Is she in the chat room?
No, I just got a Twitter message.
Awesome.
So just wanted to make sure. Oh, good. Ken's here, so we can start the top 10 list. That's important to have. As I look really quick through my Powerball numbers, I see that I am not a big winner because I do not have the number 10 anywhere in the Powerball list.
Do you have 4?
No.
Do you have 8?
No.
Do you have 19?
No.
27?
No.
34?
Oh, tell me there's something for not getting anything.
I don't know.
If there's something for not getting anything, I've won. The story of my life.
I got one number in all of that. I don't think there's anything for not getting anything because it's each row, right?
Oh. Well, that's no good. Damn it. I was even looking top down. I was hoping to get something out of it. Well, I guess we'll be back next week. Sorry, folks. Powerball ruined your ability to get away from us. Speaking of which, so it's 10 past the hour.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
So, the top number 1 out of the 10 things overheard at the State of the Union, with the exceptional one himself, Ken McClinton, in attendance. And the first one was kind of a shock. Because this was one of those moments before the president fully came to the stage where he kind of comes out, he does a little handshake and look around thing. And I can't confirm this, but apparently he said, "Who the hell's the other black guy?"
Really?
So I was shocked by that. It's funny because you think he would know who Ken was at this point.
Right.
I mean, everyone knows who Ken is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first one, and we'll go through the list as the night goes on. But I thought that was kind of he got him coming. You know, it's impressive. And as much as the State of the Union was horrible, you know, the president's under a lot of pressure. I don't care which president it is or what they're going to talk about. That's a big speech every year for you. You're focused, right?
Right.
So for him to be coming out, doing the little handshake, meet and greet thing, doing the "there you are, nice to see you," and him to notice Ken right away, who, by the way, was allowed to sit not all the way in the back, so that's progress. That's impressive.
Right.
So what else do we have going on this week, my friend?
There hasn't been much going on.
No, it's been a quiet week for news.
It's been a very quiet week. We had the State of the Union.
Yep, State of the Union. It's a big one.
We had something happen in Iran.
Little Iranian.
Yeah, I don't
even know if you'd call it an incident.
I wouldn't. I certainly would not. But some people might call it a little. Yeah. Nothing. There's nothing to see here. It was fine. We had a Philadelphia cop.
Dude, you want to talk about a hero? I mean,
yeah.
When we talk about, this is one of those things. I was saying to my wife and a couple of my friends, you want to talk about personifying a hero for a child. And there's a bunch of great heroes out there. Don't get me wrong. Historical heroes, political heroes. There's a lot of great people out there. First and foremost comes to mind is Tonto and all the Tig and Ty and all those guys who are in Benghazi with the movie coming out. Of course, that's something you could speak of. But this Philadelphia police officer, sitting in his car, and if you haven't seen the video or heard the audio is on shrmedia.com, and it's one of the older posts, but you can absolutely get it. But here's a police officer just kind of rolling down the street. Now, and it's funny, just before this came out, a lot of people don't know, Philadelphia, in almost the entire, it is the entire city, even if they're not on a call, police officers or their patrol vehicles have a solid red and blue light on at all times if they have a light bar on top, the flashy thing on top. A couple years ago, the chief changed it so every police vehicle had it on at all times, under the theory of, in high crime areas, it would be a bigger presence. People would know they were there. I know some other cities gave it a shot and it didn't work out.
Right.
The police chief in Philadelphia, just like 2 or 3 days before this shooting, turned around and said, "No, you know what? We're changing this. It's more of a danger. It's harder for our officers to on view," as he said, or drive up on something in progress because everyone can see them coming a mile away. And we're going to change this, and we're going to start the process slowly, but we will start the process, and it's a safety issue, right? Just first and foremost, it's a safety issue. And I polled a few cops that I know about this, and I said, hey, what are your thoughts about that? This was before the shooting. And they're like, well, you spend a lot of time in a patrol car, and sometimes you have to park at the end of a dead-end street in a dark alley or something to write a report or finish something up or whatever. Sometimes just put food in their mouth. And the fact that if our car is on, the lights are on, makes it very, very difficult to be safe. You can't have that few moments to let your guard down and rest. I think it was 72 hours later, Edward Asher, who is a self-proclaimed ISIS member, sympathizer, asshole. I don't remember what you want to call him. Approached the vehicle with a stolen firearm, a police officer's stolen firearm, and fired in, I believe it was 17 times. And if you watch the still
he
shot,
hit 3.
If you watch the still shot video, the fact that there was only 3, and Officer Harnett, who I want to talk about in a second, walks away is absolutely amazing. Luckily, this guy sucked at shooting. But Officer Harnett took 3 shots, all to the arm, I think, the left arm. And the guy started to run away like a little coward.
Right.
Officer Harnett exits his vehicle, calls for backup or extra help, whatever they call it, and proceeds to pursue the man. And then, after being shot 3 times, bleeding heavily, and if you listen to the audio, this guy's cool as a cucumber.
Right.
For a guy who just got shot, I cry when I get a paper cut sometimes.
No, you do.
I know.
I've seen it.
It's horrible, right?
Several times, right. A matter of fact, there may be some YouTube videos out there.
Right. Remember when I stubbed my toe and I made you bring me to the ER?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a big wuss. So I can't even imagine what this guy was going through. So he gets out, he draws his weapon, and pretty much single-handedly, because if you've ever shot a gun, you go from a supported stance sometimes, single-handedly shot a man who was fleeing with a weapon still, so he was still a threat to public, so shooting him as he was fleeing is completely acceptable.
Right.
And shot him, I think, twice, to the point that he fell to the ground. The gun was later recovered.
Right.
He hit him in the rear end. He literally shot him in the ass. And I think he got one more in his back. And then, fortunately, other officers, because this officer is so cool and got on the radio right away, these other cops were there quick. And if you listen to the audio, it's amazing. And they were able to take him into custody. And he said right away, this Archer guy, and I'm sure he goes by some other name now that I probably won't be able to pronounce, but he said right away that he did this with sympathy to ISIS or because he was inspired by ISIS, etc. So it is now being handled as an act of terrorism.
Right.
As it should be.
Yes.
And I'm glad the FBI is actually stoning up on this and not calling it some sort of ridiculous...
it is a twisted, religious, point of view inspired criminal activity.
Right.
It's a freaking terror attack on a cop.
Yeah. Yeah. No different than if a whole group of them attacked a police station or something to that effect.
Right.
So we now see yet another instance of an ISIS-inspired... And listen, just because... One of the things, too, that drives me crazy, and the president kind of alluded to this when he's talking about terrorism, they make it assume... They try to make it in people's mind like ISIS natural, if you will, over in the Middle East in their little caliphate, as they call it.
Did you say natural ice?
Yeah, natural ice.
Is that what they're called for? Is that what they're called now?
Natty ice.
Natty ice.
If they're from that region and come over here, they're natty ice.
Natty ice.
He acts like these guys go over there, and unless they raise their hand in front of like the ISIS Amalala boss guy and says, "Oh, I swear by ISIS," that they're not ISIS terrorists. San Bernardino, ISIS inspired. They love that term, inspired terrorist. No. They're ISIS terrorists. There's no official. It's not like the French Foreign Legion. There's no official sign up in camp. If you get sent to a camp, yeah, okay, it's still the same thing. These guys are still just a-holes. But more importantly that night, and I hope all the other little ones that are watching out there and thinking, oh, maybe I can get away with it, or I'm going to try and attack and screw America, you might run into an Officer Harnett, just like the two assholes in Texas ran into a traffic cop who happened to be damn good at what he did. You might run into an Officer Harnett who's going to jump out of his car after getting shot 3 times and literally shoot you in the ass. And you're going to go to jail. Or worse, hopefully. Hopefully worse in this case. Hopefully we just shoot him and call it a day after the trial. And he's an American citizen, so even though it's terror, he still gets a trial, blah, 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 blah. We've had that argument a million times again.
Yep.
And he will get his day in court, whether we want him to go to jail quickly or not. The law is the law. So, Officer Harnett, who's recovering, has had multiple surgeries and will require more. But it's guys like that, you know, when CNN and all these over-the-top idiocy run news media talk about anti-cop crap and how cops and blah, 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 blah. These stories are the ones that you have to throw back in their face. Because if Officer Harnett didn't have the balls and the ability and the training and the know-how to exit that vehicle and stay engaged into a terrorist who has just put a gun inches from his face and tried to pull the trigger and kill him.
Yep.
Who knows how far this guy would have gone or what he would have done next. He could have ran around the corner after he killed that cop and waited for the other ones to show up and start again. Or he could have went kicked in some door at some house or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's people like Officer Harnett who are on the front lines of this terror attack. And they're the ones that we talked a couple weeks ago about enhanced training for our law enforcement. And this situation is very unique, probably. It's not necessarily a group of cops going into, say, a mall that's being held, by ICE. But these are the sort of things that when you say the police officers are going to be on the front lines, and you called this. This is exactly what you get. And like I said, God bless Officer Harnett. We wish him a speedy recovery. Thank him for his service. And we wish him many more years of service to come. So it's stories like that when you're going to talk about heroes with your kids or young people that you may know, talk about Officer Harnett. Talk about the team over in Benghazi. You talk about people that is absolutely inspiring for several different reasons. And you make that, in my opinion, that's something you talk about all the time with them if you have young children. You talk about these heroes. You talk about these wonderful people. And I'm sure there are people out there who still are going to have this whole anti-cop mentality and, the cops are just nothing but blah, 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 blah. I do have to say, what went very silently last night, and I just caught a glimpse of this, did you know there was a protest in Philadelphia last night involving the police?
I did not.
Yeah, they shut down streets. They marched. There's 70 people in support of the police department.
That is amazing.
Did you see that anywhere?
I did not.
News?
I did not see it anywhere in the news.
Nowhere on the news, did you?
Nope, not at all.
And the only reason I caught it is because of the job that we do, and I have to constantly be attached to a million different news and information outlets. I have a app on my phone that's for like police and fire scanners that alerts me if there's like a critical incident or something like that. And I got an alert that there was a protest in Philadelphia. And I was like, oh, it's got to be an anti-cop protest, right? Because that's all we ever see. And under the notes on that specific incident, they actually said a pro-police rally marching in support of the police department. And that was it. That is all I saw anywhere. I'm asking for the link. It's a phone app. I could tell you it's called Scanner Pro. I got it on Android for free, I think. It's a good one, though. It has some good information. Somebody was asking for the link in there. But why wasn't that all over the news? You just had this amazing incident involving a Philadelphia police officer. You just had a terror attack in the city of Philadelphia. And you have a pro-police march. In response, citizens doing an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you see that?
Never.
You just don't see it.
Well, you don't see it on the news.
Right. So
you don't see it on the
you
news.
Wonder.
Right? Because people like me and people like you go up to police officers whenever we see them and we say thank you.
But it makes you wonder how many more times this has happened, even if it's 10 people.
Right.
And I agree with you. There are a lot of people that walk up to cops.
I don't know about a lot, but there are some.
There are more now than ever. And I know that from talking to them.
Right.
That walk up to police officers and thank them. But anytime you get a group of people together to do a march, in support of police officers, that's something that should be everywhere. And I thank those good people in Philadelphia, and I don't know if they're all from Philadelphia. Some could be from Jersey, but I doubt it, because we know how people from Jersey are. They're all a little strange.
With the exception of Jersey Joe.
No, including Jersey
Joe.
Joe.
Especially
he's
Jersey
slamming
Joe.
the Bruins in the chat room right now.
He did what?
He's giving my Bruins a hard time in the chat room. So, yeah, he's getting this.
What's he think about the San Jose Sharks?
I'll wait for a response.
Wait for a response before I decide whether I'm going to defend
I'll wait to
or
see
jump on the Jersey bandwagon.
But this needs to happen more. And like I said, I applaud these good people because I think that it doesn't happen enough. I think that there's so much horrible things said about cops that we're not seeing the good things that are out there that are pro-police.
Right.
I hate to say it, if this wasn't a terror-related incident,
mm-hmm.
this may not have been all over the news like it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that it happened, but you can already see good coming out of it, which is kind of impressive. Awareness, San Bernardino, now this. It's going to happen more. We've talked about that. You're seeing more people actually viewing police officers how they should be viewed and appreciating their service. And firefighters and medical personnel.
No, the focus is on law enforcement. Look, we're not going to drag the freaking hose draggers in on this wagon, okay? Everybody loves the fire guys. Everybody always has loved the fire guys. When's the last time you saw an anti-fire guy rally? Okay? A bunch of dogs picketing because they rescue cats. It doesn't happen, okay? Everybody loves the fire guys. So let's not get them in on the bandwagon. And I'm not saying that I am not thankful for their service, because I am. I am thankful for your service.
Before your phone just blows up.
Right. I'm thankful for your service. I really am. But in this case, American law enforcement has it particularly rough.
I'm waiting for T-Bone's dad to kick this door in somehow.
I know.
Just beat us to it.
Just a hatchet. Here's how we get in.
By the way, news is reporting that the Winter Powerball jackpot ticket was sold in the Los Angeles area, according to KCRA here out of Sacramento. So we'll see. I'm trying to think if I bought my ticket in L.A., but I don't think so. So good news, though. I'm glad he's going to recover. I am sorry that more shots didn't find his target.
Yeah.
But you know, I was just telling you today, I was at a range with a couple friends earlier today. And to hit a target that's running at night and running essentially away and strafing slightly must be next to impossible, right?
Right.
Now to do it while you have 3 bullets lodged in your arm and probably a blown eardrum because the gunshots were that close. How the hell do you do that? Now listen, when I shoot, I'm good for, say, 5 yards. Perfect conditions.
No, you're not.
Wait, hold on.
No, you're not.
Hold on. Perfect conditions. I might be able to hit the bottom of the target.
Okay.
And that's because I aim really high left.
Okay.
And I usually go bottom right a little bit.
Okay.
So I can't imagine what it would be after I was shot.
You would have to turn around and aim back at your car. To hit somebody.
Into the center console.
Right. Muzzle right up against it.
Not even get out.
Not even get out. And then it would hit him somehow. That's how you would make that shot.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing stuff. Hey, we're up against a break. Are we ready for number 2? Because we still have 9 more Ken comments heard.
9 more Ken comments heard?
Yeah. So you ready with number 2?
I'm ready with number 2.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
I still love that every time. Number 2.
Number 2, and this is an unofficial report, but we did have people kind of in there, and Ken obviously was one. But I don't know how many times people walked by Ken and would ask the person that Ken was talking to, "Excuse me, is this gentleman bothering you?"
And at which point she said, "No, Mr. Vice President, he's fine."
Right.
Oh, we're up against a break. When we come back.
Yes. We're going to talk about Iran.
And Iran. We'll be back.
Stop. You can't. STAHP. Stop.
All that and more on the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. You didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cow for the stupid promo.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from Reefer of Common Sense, and we have moved to a new night and time. Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com, you will catch the Reefer of Common Sense uncensored, unfiltered, and only on shrmedia.com.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live in the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
This evening, a lot to talk about. I just going down the list of some of the other things overheard, and I can't, they just make me laugh. But as the president took the speech, took the stage, if you will, for the State of the Union in Congress, something else happened that he never even mentioned in his speech. Which
it was the number 3 thing that was heard, which is, how is the president in 2 places at one time? Which was weird.
Okay, we'll go right to number 5. Might as well skip 3 and 4. I'll get back to those.
Didn't I say 3?
That's fine. When we plan something, can you try
what?
To at least stick to it?
I did. I gave number 3.
And especially because, that's fine. You wrote that one, and I wrote one that you knew about. It's fine. Let's just go on. Hey, I ran.
No, you didn't. You haven't run in so long.
No, but I played hockey the other night.
You did. So you skated.
I did.
You skate a lot in your life. Just so you know. You've skated on so much.
You don't know that. You do know that.
Yes,
but
actually,
I do.
Talk
about it here in public.
Yeah,
I mean, geez,
I do know.
What's wrong with you? Anyhow, as the president took the stage for the State of the Union, there were 10 Americans being held in Iran.
Yeah, so American naval vessels, I think they were the river boats, were allegedly drifted into Iranian waters. I don't know if that's true or not. Were they able to officially fix the GPS coordinates within Iranian waters? I don't know. And I really don't. But allegedly they drifted into Iranian waters, and 10 United States naval sailors were taken into custody by Iran, by their Revolutionary Guard, and they were held. And they were being held at the time the president took the stage for the State of the Union. Video surfaced today of them basically on their knees with their hands over their head, and the female sailor was forced to wear a burqa over her head.
Yeah, if you will.
No, I will not, but they did, apparently. And then there was also video released of the American lieutenant issuing an apology.
Yep.
For their actions and whatnot, and that's been played over and over again as kind of a propaganda tool. And the president did not address any of this. John Kerry has come out and said that he's very proud of the partnership with the Iranians, and the diplomatic relations worked, and the diplomatic ties they developed during the course of the previous several months over the whole Iran nuclear deal enabled this bit of diplomacy to work for the diplomatic folks to secure the release from the military folks in Iran.
Ridiculous.
and everything was good. So they're using this incident to tout the Iran nuclear deal and our relations with Iran, yet Iran launches warheads 150 yards from our ships with minimal warning, and then they capture our sailors and equipment. And look, there have been reports, my understanding, there have been reports where Iranian nationals have been assisted by the United States Navy.
Iranian military last year.
And allowed to continue or whatnot. So I don't know how good our relations really are at this
Last
point.
year, there was an Iranian military, one of their swift little Corvette boats that broke down just outside the Strait of Hormuz, and one of our vessels assisted them, which isn't putting your hands behind your head and having a gun held to your head, actually assisted them until another vessel could come tie off and tow them back. You know, a couple things need to be pointed out with this, obviously. It was just, last week or a week and a half ago that we had the Iranians fire a rocket essentially in front of one of our aircraft carriers in the Persian Gulf. They tested some missiles like 2 weeks, maybe a month ago, in violation of many people saying the Geneva Convention, not even the nuclear deal. You have this incident. Obviously, the mullahs and the idiots running Iran still shout death to America every single time they get in front of a microphone and death to Israel. And now you have this incident. And the president goes out during the State of the Union. He knew about it. At least he should have known about it, right?
Right. No, come on. He had to have known about it.
He hadn't watched the news yet. So how's he supposed to know anything if he doesn't watch the news? That's right. He was prepping for his speech. And he doesn't even mention this incident. And if he came out at the beginning and said, before I get to my speech, I just want to make mention of our 10 sailors that are being held by the Iranians. We're doing everything we can to get our sailors back, and our thoughts and prayers are with the sailors, and we pray for a safe return. And then moved on. Okay. You acknowledge there's an incident. You spoke briefly about the incident. You're hoping for a return. I would hope that in the background, you're on the phone with Iran saying, hey, listen, if they're not back in the boat by the time the president's off with his speech, we're going to level something, or many things,
right,
in your country. And we have a couple aircraft carriers that you're about 30 minutes out.
Right, because after the sackheads put out that picture of all of them in port in San Diego, we realized that maybe we should fill some up with gas and move them over there. So you can thank the sackheads personally for us being able to deliver some ordnance to kick your ass.
If our name was ever mentioned in any sort of international incident like that, that would be enough for me to absolutely hang it up.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, gosh,
I'd be
no.
done at that point. I would be happy.
What else could be said?
Right. It's not like we would offer any other goodness.
Could you imagine 50 years from now, declassified documents? Sackhead Sean said, Sackhead Clint posted a picture of...
Gulf is in the chat room. Gulf Dogs, Ron would love to have you. And he said something that I actually brought up earlier.
Don't try and take credit for Gulf Dog's brilliant idea. Gulf, I apologize. I apologize for my partner attempting to steal credit away from you. Go ahead, since Gulf has no voice on the air, and he's in chat. Go ahead, let's air it out for the other 49,999 listeners to be able to hear what he had to say.
I was just saying that all of the timing of this seemed extremely convenient. When you have an American president who's about to go out there and tout this deal with Iran and how it's opening up all these diplomatic doors and we're able to communicate with them and now they're good players again and all this stuff, you have a ship that allegedly breaks down, these guys get held, and then turned over within 24 hours.
Right.
And I did say it just seemed a little convenient. Gulf in the chat
particularly
room
with this administration.
Staged. Right.
Iran has to know that they could hold our people for how long, and we ain't doing anything about it.
Right. We ain't doing jack shit.
No.
We're not going to get them. We won't even talk about Americans being held during the nuclear deal. That wasn't even part of it. So I agree, without going 100% conspiracy theory, that the timing of this was very strange. Now, I talked to somebody who is stationed in that region and said that this route from Kuwait to Bahrain for these boats is fairly regular.
Right.
And that it's not on a schedule, but it's a regularly occurring incident. Anyone who's driven a vehicle at all knows, it doesn't matter how well maintained it is, occasionally they break down. I will accept that as plausibility.
Right.
But I agree. For them to be so close to the Iranian international waters as they're riding in these two little river boats, essentially, to break down and then drift in before vessels that are in the Gulf, and there's a lot of American vessels in that Gulf, could come and retrieve them. They had radios,
right?
Because we knew they were being taken there. Does seem a little strange. Now, shit does happen.
Yes.
And I will acknowledge that as well.
Yes.
There's not enough information for me to define, hey, yeah, this was staged. We may hear from a sailor in 5 years who are like, yeah, that whole incident was not on the up and up.
Right.
It does seem strange. But like you pointed out, the Iranians know that they could hold for a long period of time before this administration will do shit. You better believe, depending on who's elected next November.
You know what would be awesome? Hang on, I had a thought.
Oh, boy.
Hang on, just follow this. Follow this with me. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? Our 10 sailors are held. The administration won't do anything. Putin drops some ordnance and gets them released. Russian military and the French.
And the Chinese.
And the Chinese.
Just because.
So here's your guys back.
Hey, just so you know, we launched a multi-nation coalition to retrieve the American soldiers.
A multi-nation rescue.
We all worked together just fine.
And the Brits were in there, too. Yeah. And the Canadians. Why not?
The Canadians sent a card.
Right. One Australian guy. And like a Zimbabwe dude. And one UN soldier for good measure.
Oh, man. That would be a riot. Yeah, literally the one guy who's in the Fiji army, he was there. Golf Dog said in the chat room, warships breaking down sound like a Carter administration. These aren't, they're not the big warships, though. I agree. But these are little dual engine, almost like inflatables, but they're hard rib boats. So it wasn't, it's a little gas engine. So that would be, it's still, a little upsetting when the breaks down so close. And the timing is extremely odd. But then you had today, the State Department, and everybody coming out, which is so weird that this is a military incident and they go right to the State Department. Did we hear from one military leader about this? SecNav, Joint Chiefs, something. It's funny. Do you remember an administration where you never hear from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs? This administration, you never hear from him, right? Every other administration, even under Clinton, I can remember the Joint Chiefs speaking regularly about incidents involving military. And it seems like this administration, you just don't hear from the Joint Chiefs.
Right.
Their gas card got declined. They ran out of gas. It's possible. That'd be great if they were leaving Kuwait and going back to Bahrain. Hey, fill it up. Ooh, yeah. Do you have another form of payment? What do you mean? We were on credit here. Yeah, we don't take credit from you guys anymore. We had an incident with a couple checks bouncing. Anywho, other form of payment? No. Good luck. You can risk it. And the ultimate irony is they're surrounded by oil fields and not a drop to put in their tank. Yeah. But, you don't hear from the Joint Chiefs. You don't hear from anyone in the military from this. You get the State Department who's front and center.
Now, one thing I do have to say.
Okay.
I have to give credit in one area.
Okay.
One area only, and it pains me to do it, but I have to be fair. John Kerry has not apologized for this incident. He hasn't. And neither has Obama.
For our intrusion into Iranian waters.
This administration has not apologized.
For our intrusion
into
Iranian
waters.
Well, you know why? It's because James Taylor wasn't readily available to go play a concert for the friggin' Iranians.
Right.
Can you just picture that? James Taylor, Frankenstein, middle of terrain.
I got a better one. Janet Jackson. Full wardrobe error. Because they love women dressed like that.
They would go crazy.
Right?
They would go crazy.
Yeah, right. What?
Mr. Ayatollah, I am pleased to announce on behalf of the American people, Miss Janet Jackson. And then you would just see liberty just explode. Janet Jackson could be what brings down Iran.
No, you know what could be what brings down Iran?
What?
The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. You have the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. You hack into their internet, and you play on all their channels. The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Dancing and shaking and gyrating all over the screens.
And all of a sudden, American football is the most popular sport in Iran.
Oh, yeah.
The Ayatollah, look at the teeth! Just...
Why does this costume have camel toes painted on the front areas? I do not understand this. We recognize this.
If anyone knows a camel toe, believe me, my former lover had 4. Now, the Bengals, you know what? We'll get all the cheerleaders together, and they could just have like a cheer-off.
Right.
Like a marathon. You know how they do like sleep deprivation?
Right.
Right? You could just constantly stream this 24 hours for the next month.
Oh, yeah.
Just one right after another, right? Except for the Raiders. Right after another.
No, Raiderettes too. We like the Raiderettes.
Until they finally give in. So what finally, hundreds of years from now, classrooms, what finally brought down the Iranian regime? Was it diplomacy?
No.
Was it
military force? No.
Was it a cheerleader? Now, girls, listen up. Because you can change the world right now. You have the one guy who's like, oh, can I join? No.
No.
That would have screwed everything up forever.
Right.
Right? That's cool in some colleges, and I'm not saying it's the right. But
yes, you guys are athletic and strong,
this
but
is
that's
mission
not...
specific.
Yes.
And you need a certain operator when you're doing clandestine or overt action. And in this case, you have to be just a certain mindset, and more importantly, the ability to split and stand on top of a female pyramid. Hear me out, ladies.
I'm hearing you out. I'm sold.
I am totally sold on
Thank
this.
you.
Why, if the South Koreans, and I think they should, broadcast propaganda to the North Korean
Get it?
side.
Cheerleaders, females, broadcast. I see what you did there.
We can call it a broadcast.
It is a broadcast. We're going to broadcast this broadcast of cheerleaders across the border. Dude, just a big, humongous, like, stadium screen along the wall separating the two countries. You would have, like, a huge city built up right there on that side, and the rest of the country.
Cast of broads.
Yeah. Yes. You had to explain that joke to yourself? Really?
Oh, man.
Come on, I'm freaking brilliant.
Freaking
quick.
brilliant.
I got moved like this. You had to explain it to yourself. It's like Sacco's here or something. That's something Sacco would do. 10 minutes later, he's over in the corner giggling to himself.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
You have number 4?
Number 4 on the list of things overheard with the exceptional one in attendance during the State of the Union. Who, by the way, High Plains, Dr. Arrington, Dan Butcher, live blog the entire incident for us last night. It was both on High Plains Daily News and SHR Media. I thank them. The exceptional one tweeting from inside. In what other network carried live blogs from somebody inside? Just want to know. SHR, High Plains Daily News. Just saying, kind of a big deal. Number 4.
Kind of a big deal.
Number 4 thing overheard, and again, this was a direct quote. I can't confirm.
These are just reports that we've received.
But allegedly, Barbara Broxer asking her, someone to her left, when the hell is he going to get up and take my order? Now that's just rude. I mean,
that's very rude. Do you expect anything less from her? Now, was that Boxer or Pelosi?
That was Boxer. Pelosi has a quote that we'll get to a little bit later. But yeah, pointing to Ken, when the hell is he going to get up and take my order? I'm disgusted. The world doesn't need people like that.
Not at all.
If she said this, I don't know. I wasn't there.
We don't know.
We don't know. You hear rumors from.
I couldn't imagine her saying something like that. So I don't know that I believe that report.
The exceptional one's confirming that actually did.
Okay, so the exceptional one confirmed that.
Per the exceptional one,
and he was there.
Barbara Boxer pointed to him and said, "When the hell is he going to get up and take my order?"
Wow. That is so rude.
And that was the exceptional one, Ken McClinton.
And I'm just going to round it out because we're almost halfway done with the show, so I'm going to round it out with number 5.
Oh, okay.
So we're halfway
done. Do you need
done.
the sound intro?
Now, yeah, please.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
Number 5, quote as reported to SHR is, excuse me, sir, can I have your autograph? I loved you in Blazing Saddles.
Oh, man. Bart! They said you was hung!
And they was right!
Which was really weird because I didn't think Debbie Watchman Schultz would watch a Mel Brooks movie. She's totally anti-Jewish.
No. She was in the movie. She was the old lady. They did really good makeup on her. Remember when she walked by, said "Up yours"? I think that was Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I'm not sure who that actress was, but they look similar.
It's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. That. And when Gabby Johnson is up on top with the spyglass, he said the sheriff is a.
What he said? The sheriff is near.
The sheriff is near.
Try making a movie like that today. Listen, we had a brilliant idea.
Absolutely.
Make that movie, but instead of having racial humor against Africans, make it against white people.
Oh, yeah. Invert it.
Oh, yeah.
Literally just
invert the entire thing. That would be hilarious.
It would be gold.
I would love it. Yeah, the sheriff is a cracker. What'd he say? I think he said the sheriff's full of laughter. No, dagnabbit.
Oh, Sheriff. Sorry about the up yours, honky.
Somebody needs to do that. Mel Brooks, if you're listening, please make it. Call it Blazing Stirrups.
But make it modern.
Make
it very, very modern.
No, it's got to be a Western.
We have
okay, so make it modern. So a white sheriff in Compton.
Yeah. Chicago,
anything, whatever.
Report from inside State of the Union. This is from Ken, and this is kind of a big one. Apparently, Rosa DeLauro, who's a Democrat out of Connecticut, extremely ugly.
Really?
Yeah. I'm very. I'm glad we got that information. This is the stuff you don't hear about with the State of the Union.
You don't listen. This is the stuff that regular networks won't bring to you.
No, right.
You know,
and we can't figure out why.
We don't know why. This is huge news. Do you want to know who your attractive representatives are? Listen, I don't know what district she's in, but you want to know why she's not getting anything done? Because no one wants to bang her. Very simple. All the guys in Congress are working with people they want to bang. Thank you. Tell me that's not true.
Oh, she's better known as Ichabod Crane. Oh, man, that's just harsh. That
was mean of you to say. Oh, gosh. Could you imagine the sound clips people are going to have if either one of us ever run for any kind of office?
Well, first of all...
Does she have a good personality, at least?
No, but apparently she has a lot of money. So, look,
a lot of things can be overlooked, right?
You speak from experience?
Yeah. There are people that have actually dated me. There are people that have married me. They might have found something else, but they married me.
See, and this is... Oh, man. This is why I absolutely love our chat room.
Me.
Because not only Are they fun and engaging? But they put interesting stuff up. Right now in the chat, there's a link saying that she wore an amazing outfit, this Rosa DeLauro, to the State of the Union. And I don't know if the word awesome would really be how I would describe this.
Okay.
If you don't know who DeLauro is, she looks a lot like Iggy Pop with dark hair. That's the best analogy that I can make, sadly. And she's wearing much like something you would see out of Oliver Twist on some of the orphan children. Yeah, it's a little frightening. And that's how she shows up to the State of the Union. Oh, boy. You know what? Now is a really... Oh, boy. Yeah, I got to stop looking through pictures. This is not good whatsoever. I kind of... So anyhow, we're up against a break. Wow. I really wish I had an Austin Powers soundbite right now because it would be so appropriate, but I just don't have it queued up. We're going to take a break. I am going to try to brain bleach myself from what I just saw. Clint's going to work on the next topic for the next segment because that's how we roll here on the Sackheads Radio Show live. Now I have to stop. I have to stop because Jersey Joe just nailed it in the chat room. There's a picture of DeLauro next to Nancy Pelosi. I just saw the same one, and he nailed it. He said next to Pelosi and DeLauro, Pelosi looks like a model standing next to her. So that just kind of puts things in perspective.
I'll check it out.
We'll be back here on the Sackheads Radio Show, live on the SHR Media Network. Make sure all the hate mail goes to Sacco at sackheadsradio.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians.
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
A team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Kafka was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from Reefer of Common Sense, and we have moved to a new night and time. Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com, you will catch the Reefer of Common Sense uncensored, unfiltered, and only on shrmedia.com.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back on the Sack Kids Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us. On this other amazing day that we have here. 7 amazing days?
No, number 6.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
Added to the list of top 10 things overheard at the State of the Union, with the exception of one himself in attendance. Go ahead.
No, this is your turn.
Oh, this one is my turn.
This one is yours.
I just thought it was appropriate when Joe Biden apparently approached Ken and told him that there was no panhandling allowed. I just thought that was classless. I mean, I don't know if that happened or not, but I just think that's you just can't do that. That's just an assumption, Joe.
You can.
Well, you can. I mean,
but it's not. Yeah.
So let's talk about, we're officially in 2016. The election's almost 11 months away.
10.
October. 10 months away. Good call on that.
Hang on. Carry the 1.
Carry the 1. Take your shoe off.
Okay, there you go. 10.
Ken also would like to add that he rubbed his shoulders when he said that. So that was...
Wait, he rubbed Biden's shoulders?
No, Biden rubbed his.
Okay.
That's amazing. It's the stuff you learn, really.
Hang on. I have something else, one of the top things heard, number 7.
Go for it.
Do you work for the BBC?
Oh, that's
because I will.
Because that's going to take a while to set in for some folks.
If you don't know what BBC is, not related to the broadcast network.
Don't Google this.
Google it with your safe search off.
No.
And get back to us.
No. Do not Google that. What is
Hang
wrong?
on. The full quote, I want to draw it all together. Do you work for the BBC? Because I will. And that was most often quoted reportedly from female staffers. So, good job, Ken. What?
Oh, man.
Look, I don't write these. I report things.
Oh, Lord, help us all. So, Ken just said the FBI is actually knocking on his door as we speak. So we wish you nothing but the best.
Right, nothing but the best.
Oh, man. So one of the things that came up in the president's speech is he took a couple of shots at Republicans running for office.
Just a couple.
But
because that's a good place to do it.
He specifically went after Donald Trump without saying his name, but talked about just how some candidates
that have plazas named after them and palaces and casinos in Vegas.
Flies on his own plane.
And it rhymes with strump. Some candidates like that are... I'm not going to say his name, but some candidates it rhymes with schmump.
But he took some swipes at it, which I wasn't shocked about because, let's face it, the left is in fear of Donald Trump right now. Everything they can to bring this guy down, which is even funnier because all they're doing is boosting him up. His numbers get stronger and stronger as time goes on. And again, I have my issues with Trump, and I'm the first one to admit it. But there is a lot of people that don't. We heard earlier, Jersey Joe was saying that on Twitter, if you use a lot of pro-Trump hashtags or whatever, people report you for hate speech, and they'll shut you down. You have media outlets that are doing everything they can to go after Trump, et cetera, et cetera. And when the State of the Union, when the president, who has no horse in the next election but needs somebody to get in that office to carry on his progress, if you will, in his mind for the next 8 years and not shut it right down, he's still playing politics. He does have a legacy in the race, may not a horse, but a legacy that he needs to help maintain. For him to specifically go after Trump without saying his name really tells you how afraid the left is of Donald Trump. And then you had Nikki Haley, who we had problems when she started pulling the Confederate flags after the shooting. We didn't necessarily agree with that. I overall think pretty well of Nikki Haley as a governor, but even she took some swipes at Trump without saying his name. As far as you don't always have to listen to the loudest person in the room,
right?
Et cetera, et cetera. And again, I'm not saying I support Trump. I'm not supporting Trump. I'll be but you have to address it because the guy's leading right now. The guy is running it. He's running away with it, and things like that are only firing up Trump supporters even more. Social media all over the place came to Donald Trump's defense. Donald Trump had a couple little words about it, but nothing too crazy. But Nikki Haley was elected last night to give the Republican rebuttal, by the Republican establishment.
Right.
Reince Priebus.
Which she was a Tea Party.
She was
person. She was not establishment, and now it seems like she's being
tapped.
groomed.
Well, everyone's talking about her as a possible VP candidate. And to have her even taking swipes at her own party, or at least against Trump. And listen, a lot of what she said in that speech, I thought was pretty decent. Both sides in Congress and in government have a lot of blame to take as to the current state. I agree with that.
Right.
She went on about civility and gave examples of civility and talked about the shooting in Charleston and how the civility showed itself afterwards between people. Whereas the president talked about civility and then just attacked the conservatives for every single thing from climate to everything else. And he went after climate change. And it's amazing when the president's chief of staff, not a month ago, talking about budgets, refers to the Republicans as having a bomb strapped to their chest as far as their negotiation things, almost akin to a suicide bomber, that this guy has the audacity and the ball to come out and talk about civility. I thought Nikki Haley's rebuttal was pretty decent, but it really gives you insight as to who both the left and establishment GOP absolutely fears right now.
Right.
And it's Donald Trump.
Yep.
And we've talked a little bit about Trump. We really haven't gotten into the whole Trump thing, if you will, over the last couple months. Because I think we're both under the impression, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't think he was going to last this long. I really did.
No, but he's caught fire. Look, his I don't give a crap message
and
say whatever the hell's on his mind has really has people excited because they're tired of all the BS.
Exactly.
And Donald Trump seems like a no BS guy. You may not agree with everything he has to say.
Right.
And I don't know that I'm sold on him as a candidate.
No,
but
I agree.
I do like the fact that he's hey, this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm thinking. If you don't like it, too bad. You know who you're getting with him, and that's one thing I do like about him.
Right, and
and I respect that.
And Agador is going at this in the chat room right now too. He says, it only shows you that nobody knows what he would do as president. He acknowledges his popularity, but that alone bothers him. And I agree. Donald Trump knows how to sell Donald Trump. And if the business mind of him sat back when he was thinking about running and saying, hey, listen, what are people most sick of? And I would agree that people are most sick of do-nothing politicians that say a bunch of great things to get elected, then get into their office and do jack squat.
Right.
And that drives people insane. And you look at congressional approval, what's it? 11%, 10% of the country agrees with what they're doing. The presidential's approval is not too much higher. People in and I've said this before and I will say it again. These current politicians that are in the office now, the ones who've been there for 10 years, et cetera, created Donald Trump candidacy. They have people so turned off to politics the way it is that they would rather go after somebody who is outspoken first,
right,
and then his policy issues second. And that's really what it looks like right now, right?
Yeah.
They like him, like you said, because he will say whatever the hell's on his mind.
Yep.
He's not afraid to go after the media. He's not afraid to go after other candidates.
Yep.
He's not afraid to go after people in his own protests.
Yep.
He will absolutely take them on. And, you have to at least acknowledge that Donald Trump has brought some good conversations to this debate.
Yeah.
His debate on immigration. He keeps immigration on the forefront of people's minds. Listen, Rubio to a point, but Bush and all those other kind of establishment guys, Chris Christie, they want that argument to go away for now because they don't want to admit that they're going to be weak on immigration. They said Rubio, he keeps kind of waffling a little bit, and that's the one thing that really bothers me about Marco more than anything else. Cruz and Trump kind of go at each other a little bit. Obviously, Ted Cruz is more polished as a speaker and politician, if you will be. And I like Ted Cruz as well. I like a lot of what Ted Cruz has to say. And I think a lot of Ted Cruz's good speeches are getting buried because of Donald Trump will come out and say just anything, and that makes the headlines. The left hates him, so they play it ad nauseum. The right's afraid of him, so they play it ad nauseum to try to make him look bad, and he gets both sides. He wins, So I have a hard time with Donald Trump, but I understand his popularity, and to look at it in contrast. Look at what is going on the left right now. Bernie Sanders is starting to soar in polls. Bernie Sanders is Donald Trump on the left, right? The SNL, Larry David,
kind of.
Larry David on the SNL skit kind of nailed him. He just says whatever the hell he's thinking, and you at least know what he's thinking. And I'll say,
there's breaking news right now. 3 suicide bombings being reported taking place inside a Starbucks in downtown Jakarta. Outside the Pakistani, and 3 more explosions outside the Pakistani and Turkish embassies being reported right now.
And if anything else comes up, we'll definitely follow up on that.
So
heartbreaking.
A bank security guard is telling the Associated Press that he saw at least 5 attackers, 3 of which were suicide bombers who detonated themselves once they went inside Starbucks. According to this guard, the attackers detonated one at a time. The other 2 attackers went into a police station and gunfire erupted at that time, and then the 2 gunmen fled with law enforcement in pursuit. Again, this is being reported in Jakarta right
Indonesia.
now. In Indonesia, yep. So we'll keep you updated as we get more, but this is just breaking right now.
It's heartbreaking stuff, man. To get back to Bernie Sanders, he's kind of the Cruz on the left. You know where he stands on a lot of things. He's outspoken about a lot of things. He's not afraid to say what's on his mind. He may not be like Trump per se, but the reason he's so popular on the left is because of those.
Is because he's a complete communist.
Well, yeah.
And we have some complete communist socialists here in this country, particularly at the university level.
Absolutely do. But
he's gaining ground with who? It's the younger vote.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The same people that elected Obama.
Right.
That next generation after them, that same age group, the 20s, 20 to 24, 20 to
Those that are
26-year-olds.
too young and inexperienced and stupid to really understand what it is they're doing.
Right, the same so do people that elected Obama.
Right.
So you see these two, and you have to realize what causes this popularity. And yes, there's a socialism aspect of it, but it's also the whole. If you're on the left, you're like Hillary's sketchy. Everyone knows Hillary's sketchy.
She is sketchy.
65% of the country.
And we're going to talk about that next segment.
Yeah, 65% of the country says she's distrustworthy or untrustworthy.
Matter of fact, that segment is called Hillary Clinton Sketchy as Fuck.
Sketchy as fuck. Oh man, that should. I love our titles.
You know what? That should be a bumper sticker.
Well,
we need to make that bumper sticker. Hillary Clinton.
Just her picture and the word sketchy as fuck next to it.
Sketchy as fuck.
But you start looking at.
Kill me, but not in a suicide way.
Yeah, no kidding. But you have to look at why that popularity is there for those two candidates. Like I said, you have Cruz close. Everyone else is starting to falter and trip a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then, obviously, the next segment we'll talk about Hill Dog. But as we start rolling into the big election cycle now, I mean, the Iowa Caucus is a month and a half, 2 months away. It's not that far away.
I'm sorry, the Iowa what?
Caucuses. The caucuses.
Is it wrong that I want to giggle like a little school kid?
Every single time I say it.
I know.
I just look. 3 weeks. 3 weeks for the caucuses. Why?
I don't know. I'm like a kid.
The best part is I can see you start to giggle before it's even all the way out of my mouth.
Before the caucus is out of your mouth? I know. It's just jammed in there, and I already start giggling. It's still jammed in, not even out all the way. Just jammed in there, deep, and I'm just giggling already while it's still in there.
Last time I tried to say it, it got stuck in my throat. Now,
you got to open it more.
I'm so glad that poor Mary went to bed, but poor Kel has to listen to this. I don't even know why. Why?
Because we're freaking hilarious, Sean. This is why.
The caucuses are just around the corner.
And in your mouth. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I'm going to have a drink.
And that usually kicks off the giant, full-blown election cycle.
You said caucus, in your mouth, giant, and full-blown, all in the same 2 sentences. I'm just pointing that out.
I couldn't think
I'm
of
just pointing that out.
Even think of another one. I was trying to get one in.
Yeah.
But literally, it's just going to be oozing with candidates in Iowa real soon.
Right, they're going to be all over the place. It's going to be like the Philippine Islands, just splattered everywhere.
And now the chat room's jumping in. Did he say erection or election? That's enough of that. Everyone's got something to say, huh? Man. The things I do for you people.
I love our listeners. What do you mean, you people? Oh, you were talking to Ken. Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, apologize.
But we've seen with
that's the number 7 thing heard from Democrats to Ken. The things we do for you people as you walk by.
Oh man.
Oh gosh. This segment's really gone downhill.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, Ken says it's brought to you by the makers of Cialis, so that's good. Cialis, helping all the politicians get through the caucuses of Iowa.
Man.
Oh, boy. So, but now we start seeing, traditionally, after Iowa, you start seeing numbers start to stabilize a little
bit.
And numbers start bouncing back and forth. Do you have any...
I thought caucuses bouncing back and forth. What?
Do you guys want to talk to Clint? Is that what's going on in the chat room? Do you guys all just want to get together and I'll just step off to the side?
Yes.
It doesn't
Listen,
end.
look it. We're having a Bazaar moment right now. Do you remember Bazaar? I'd buy that for $1. That's kind of what's happening right now.
Oh, man. Ken says, Alice, rise to the occasion. Iowa will be throbbing during the caucus. Per Agador, it's stiff competition in these Iowa caucuses. The crowds are seething and throbbing for big action. Jersey Show says, of course all the guys will get into the circle.
Oh, my goodness.
So if you want to jump in the chat room, shrmedia.com. Click this in the live chat, and you can join. And 2, make any PP joke you want for the next 6 minutes.
We're going to check the pulse of the crowd. No, not there.
Even Cal Fritzy saying it's pulsating right now.
Yes. Are you a member?
But are you a voting member? So we'll see. I can't even go on.
Oh, yeah, we can.
No, I mean, usually like a minute and a half, and I can get... No, forget it.
That's including cuddle time.
Well, crying and apologizing.
Sorry, Mom.
I'm not reading that one. Agador, I am not reading that one. Even I have my limits. So we'll see numbers regulate, and then you'll see more it becoming more about policy and less about rhetoric. I have 5 minutes to kill before the segment's over.
Oh, gosh. Where do we go from there? I don't know.
This just took the wind right out of my sails.
Oh, I thought it was awesome.
No, in a good way. I'm just... Normally I just have to contend with you.
Right.
And this is why I love our listeners. I will say this till the day that I die.
Because they're a bunch of perverts.
They're a bunch of screwballs like we are.
Right.
And they
Who else would listen to us?
They find the same shit funny that we do.
Right. There's a reason why our listenership's not growing anymore. We found all the perverts and degenerates already. They've heard about us.
And
we have an occultist following.
Hell, we get the only pervert out of Canada in Kel.
Right.
They sent us theirs.
We have a perfect place for you, eh?
I just think it's great that I had this whole segment set up to talk about the Iowa.
Hey, listen, you know what? We're part of an international chat community right now.
This is true.
As proven by the fact that Kel is in the chat room.
This is very, very true.
Right now.
Oh, man. So, yeah.
Great radio. Hey, that's riveting. That's riveting crap, Sean.
When you ask why we don't get on regular radio...
What?
Because
this is brilliant.
Anytime I've submitted our tapes, I get response.
Beep, 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 beep. No, hey, Obama. Beep, beep, beep. That's what they hear.
I will find like the 9 minutes where we actually talk about an important subject and string it together, and they'll respond with one of the segments like this. I won't even get a no thank you. I just get a return of our own audio.
And then you reply back, I'm happy you find our show as brilliant as we do.
So when do we start?
That's not true. We have been on terrestrial radio.
Oh, no, we have. I know we've been on terrestrial radio. The hardest 60 minutes of your life. Poor Sacco, the whole time in Vegas, just had his finger on the dump button for Clint. That's all he did.
Oh, my gosh.
Because... Ken will remember this. Before we'd go on air in the morning for when I was doing Edge of Liberty out of Philadelphia, Clint would look at me and go, all right, I'm ready. And I'd look at him and be like, just remember, no cursing. And it would almost, he'd have that look like, well, damn it, I have to replan my entire show now.
Right. And it was usually followed with some expletives, if you recall.
Everything was expletives. Beep, 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 beep. And then the music would start, and he would just shut up for like 10 minutes and just stare at me.
And you'd pass me a note. I know you really want to say some shit right now, but don't.
The hardest part is when it was you, me, and Tonto in the morning.
Yes.
And we were talking.
Yes.
And it was just before Lieutenant Colonel West came over and joined us.
Yes.
We were talking about the actual attack in Benghazi. And to watch all three of us start and then stop for a second.
Yep.
And then start again was absolutely hysterical because Tonto, I think, felt very comfortable with us. Like, he could say whatever he wanted to say.
Right.
Especially after Wednesday night with Sackheads.
Yeah. We built a lot of good rapport.
Right. And we let him know it was a safe place.
Absolutely.
And then after Wednesday with Sackheads, we'd had a beverage or two prior to the show.
Oh, that was so much fun.
If you haven't listened to that show, with
you got to
Tonto,
listen to that show.
From back in July when we were at Freedom Fest, you have to listen to it. It's all about Benghazi. Very, very unleashed, if you will.
Yeah, and listen to it now before you go check out the movie this Friday.
This Friday, it is opening.
Sean and I are going.
Absolutely are.
Friday
Looking
night.
forward to it. Somebody asked for the call-in number. Do you dare want to take calls? When was the last time?
Absolutely.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
God, I got to pull up the number.
After this break.
All right, I'll throw the number out.
By the way, I think, I don't even know what number we were on, but I think it's
I'll
your
tell
turn.
You. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number.
It's your turn.
Yeah. Number 8. Ladies and gentlemen.
Get the list.
Number 8.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
Overheard by Nancy Pelosi. Oh, you knew she was going to let one fly.
Yeah.
She just can't help herself. Ken walked by and apparently Nancy asked how Bill Cosby got out. So I thought that was, and what he was doing, like, at the State of the Union. So that was, I just wish she would be a little bit more understanding and a little bit more loving.
Yeah, and sensitive.
It's just, exactly, sensitive. Hold on, we put out our numbers so infrequently that I actually have to look for it. Phone number is 916-282-9806. 916-282-9806. If you want to call and talk in the last 30 minutes here on apparently this very open, candid, and punch drunk Sackheads radio show live in the SHR Media Network.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press Radio, and YouTube through the SHR Media page for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying Kyle was stupid, bro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from Reefer of Common Sense, and we have moved to a new night and time. Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on SHRmedia.com, you will catch the Reefer of Common Sense uncensored, unfiltered, and only on SHRmedia.com.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome back to the Sackheads Radio Show live on the SHR Media Network.
We do have the number 9 thing overheard.
We do.
With
Go
Congress.
For it.
Yeah. I'm just checking it off the list here because top of the hour, end of the show is going to be the number 1.
Right. And here comes, ladies and gentlemen, the number 9 thing. Number 2, depending on how you're scoring this.
Hey, boys,
yeah.
Look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at? We ain't found shit.
Pardon me, sir. I'll take a dime bag.
Which was actually Rosa DeLauro.
Yeah, I didn't write down who that might have been. I don't know. But that's reported as the number 2 or number 9, depending on how you're reading this thing. Most commonly overheard with Ken's presence.
Again.
And that was sometimes followed by, I apologize, you aren't the president.
Right. Oh, man. 916-282-9806. I will officially open the phone lines now.
Who wanted our number?
I was asked for in the chat room.
By who?
Yeah. I think...
Pray tell.
I think Agador wanted it. I think Gulf Dogs asked for it. So there it is. The number's there. I'll open the phone lines. We never open the phones.
We don't.
So
we don't. Mostly because you're antisocial.
I am not antisocial.
You are very antisocial.
Oh man. So let's get right to Hill Dog for the time being.
Let's do this. Let's get to Hill Dog. So Hill Dog potentially has a little bit of trouble. She potentially has a little bit of trouble here. The FBI has expanded their investigation. And here's why that's significant. The FBI doesn't expand anything. The FBI has expanded, and this is significant because, look, if there was nothing there, or if perhaps some of the agents involved were trying to cover something up or sweep something under the rug,
right?
I don't believe that they would say, we need to look at more crap than we're actually looking at here.
Yeah.
We need to dedicate more resources. We need to dedicate more in order to open this up and really see what we got going on. I don't think they would do that even for show.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, I guess, look, if you really wanted to go huge, big conspiracy theory, they're just trying to expand it to make it look like they're doing something and they're not going to file anything. I don't think that's the case. Because... look, if they really didn't want to do it, they would have said, we looked, we didn't find anything, and close it up, and people would cause a stink. But we're 10 months before the election, it'd be forgotten about, people would raise a stink, and then it'd be done. Right? Congress would, blah, 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 and then nothing would be done.
I agree.
So, to me, the fact that they're expanding this is significant. Now, another thing that's significant is the signals we're getting. Number one, not only from Bernie Sanders starting to overtake her in some of the polls, but Joe Biden's comments.
Yes. Tells you the
I regret not running.
The door's never closed.
The door's never all the way closed. So there are other signals starting to be sent out by the Democrats that they're looking at other options.
Yeah, which tells you something. And listen, part of the thing, one of the theories I heard today, and I kind of agree with, is the FBI agents involved, if the next administration comes in, and this is just mere paranoia aspect, the next administration comes in and either reopens or intensifies the investigation, depending on where it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it finds out that the FBI was dragging its feet,
Oh, yeah.
hiding information, etc.
Oh, yeah.
You're now looking at major obstruction of justice charges. You're looking
And
at
those agents getting in trouble also.
specifically.
Yep.
And now it's no longer about what the boss wants; it's self-preservation.
And look, and here's the part. This is beyond emails now. They're actually looking at connections between the Clinton Foundation and potential favors that may have been conducted for donors to the foundation while she was Secretary of State.
Yeah,
and
we heard about Russia and uranium.
Yeah, and the possible connection between the foundation and her work at State.
Right.
And how potentially there could potentially be public corruption charges or public corruption law violations. So, look, that's huge, because this potentially has grown from, or it seemingly has grown from a simple an email violation and whether classified information was on private email servers and State Department business being conducted on those servers outside of the control of state, but now expanded to possible corruption violations as well, and now it seems to have expanded into a corruption investigation, which is what it is.
Right.
Whether they find anything or not, they are investigating possible corruption now as well. It is therefore a corruption investigation. Hillary Clinton is under investigation
for public corruption.
For corruption.
Yep.
That doesn't mean she's guilty. That doesn't mean she did it. That just means that she is under investigation for corruption. And look, Republican candidates could come out right now and say, listen, Hillary Clinton is under investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation for corruption charges.
Yep.
And I believe that's accurate.
I believe you're
They're not saying she's guilty of. They're not saying she did it. They're simply saying that there is an investigation.
I agree, and we actually have a caller.
We do.
We do. On the line right now, and we're talking about Hillary. We're talking about the corruption charge. You're on with the Sackheads. This doesn't happen often, so consider yourself lucky.
I do.
Well, I better be lucky.
Do you even know how to answer a phone, bro?
Dude, I'm answering it. Now I'm not getting anything.
Can you hear me?
Well, now
we can hear you now.
Yeah.
All right, well, you were talking, so I wanted to let you finish.
Oh, no.
Don't do that. That's not how we operate on this show.
Don't ever let us finish.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that one. What I wanted to say is, with Clinton, if you notice, for how many years now Obama has kept FBI out of all the scandals, and now all of a sudden he lets them off the chain and going after Hillary. You don't think that's a little out of the ordinary?
Well, listen, we all know that, and the question was, for those who didn't hear, is it a little out of the ordinary that all of a sudden Obama's letting this investigation run wild? And
he doesn't like Hillary anyways.
Exactly. At the end of the day, he does not like Hillary. And he's a lot of Democrats who... Well,
I think Petraeus got off easy.
Petraeus got off really easily.
Still got discredited.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Of course he did.
And I think that's what he's doing to Hillary. Hillary has something on him that he's afraid she's going to run her mouth at about during the election to get elected as president. She'll say and do anything. So he's going to discredit her before she has a chance to open her mouth.
Well, don't you think, though, if she then... and I'm just playing devil's advocate on this. And by the way, this is Jersey Joe, Reaver of Common Sense, who's right here on the SHR Media Network. On the East Coast at 12 noon Monday through Friday, and then 5 o'clock on the East Coast 5 o'clock, 2 o'clock on the East Coast on Wednesdays. 2 o'clock here. Sometime on the East Coast. It's late at night and you're making me do math. Sorry, Joe, I blew it.
But it's 1:45 here, so.
I don't know. It's Friday here. the only thing I have with that is, don't you think if Hillary had something to go on Obama, at this point, even going this far, she may have started to leak it, A. Or B, he's got to know that if it does go that far, and she does in fact have something on Obama, that she would absolutely throw that out to save her own ass and deflect the attention.
Yeah, but what would it look like at this point?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter with these people. You're talking about politicians who don't care. Hillary does not think, by any stretch of the imagination, that she is touchable. She doesn't think so. She just doesn't. She thinks she can walk on water above the rest. She looks at what Bubba got away with. She looks at all these other scumbags who walk on this stuff. You had the head of the FBI get essentially refused to prosecute himself and got away with it, and this country did nothing. So yeah,
you make a point that I didn't think of that side of it.
You know, she does not care, and you know what? She has no love for Obama either. I think he's too smart to give her anything for real. And as we've seen with other things that could tie to the White House, and listen, we talk about Obama all the time, but the guy's not stupid, right? We talk about all these other things that have happened. We've had a very hard time making connections legally. Well, yeah, we have innuendo and all these other beliefs, but legally making connections back to that Oval Office. Look at the IRS. Look at all these different things. I mean, if there's one thing that Valerie Jarrett can do is cover their ass and cover their tracks. How do you think all this stuff started to get leaked anyways? And listen, for an administration that's transparent, they don't say anything, right? Right? This guy says nothing all the time. However, when it comes time for a political assassination, right, all of a sudden you get stuff out of this administration. It may not be from the Oval Office directly, but the FBI all of a sudden comes up with something. Look at what happened with Petraeus. He knew about the Benghazi notes. He knew they got changed. He was going to come clean. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, there's an investigation open on him. Because this guy is a political assassin. Valerie Jarrett, she runs that shit. She knows it.
And then he gets a really light sentence, right?
But they got the praise for an affair that pretty much 90% of the politicians have been.
Oh, yes.
I turned around my mom. I'm like, they were trying to shut him up.
Oh, absolutely.
All the politicians have something on the side. So to go after somebody for that was...
And they cut a deal with him. It was the Mob 101. You shut your mouth and we'll go easy on you. You start talking and you're going to do time in Leavenworth. They absolutely strong-armed him. And if you've seen him talk the last couple months, every once in a while he gets a little more bold about what he says. And the closer that Obama gets out of office, the more that Petraeus is going to say. And I guarantee you that if Hillary gets dragged in front of a court somewhere, you're going to see Petraeus sit in the stand. Now, I know he's a convicted, actually he's not a felon, it's only a misdemeanor he was convicted of. But he's going to end up on that stand because he was in that inner circle and he knew what everyone else knew that night. And the fact that they came up with that BS excuse for Benghazi is going to absolutely come out as being done for politics. And the corruption... and it's all going to be to prove Hillary's corruption. And it's going to go on and on. Mark my words. So, yeah, this White House, they know exactly what they're doing. And I still say that before this election, before the primaries there, you're going to see an indictment on Hillary Clinton. I really believe that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. There's no reason, number one, why not to. And I don't know if the DOJ at this point could cover it up, really. What as much information has been leaked out.
And there's still more coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't even...
saying there's more about it.
And you haven't even got to the forensics aspect of it yet, right? All the stuff we're getting is the stuff that's pretty public knowledge. This has nothing to do with the forensic aspect of the computers being torn apart to find out who was sent what and where. We're just basing all the information we have just on email addresses for the most part. Just on email addresses. There's still going to be a bunch of stuff that was probably buried that'll be brought out forensically, and we're going to see there's a lot more. And I guarantee, mark my words, the IRS scandal is going to somehow roll back into this. I'm almost positive that on some level the IRS scandal is going to roll back into this Clinton investigation. I just have an odd feeling about that.
And for the number, because I talked about it yesterday morning on my show or afternoon, it's 1,350 top secret emails they have on her.
Yes.
And it's what? How many years per email? It's like 30 years, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, allegedly 30 years. I mean, she won't get that, but she doesn't need to, right? She'll get if she sees an ounce of time behind a bar anywhere. She'll do the Club Fed where Martha Stewart was, where it's just like living at a 3-star hotel instead of a 4-star hotel.
But you also have Bill. He's sitting there. He's sitting there in the background going, "Oh God, I can't wait for this woman gets out."
You know what'd be good. Well, what'd be good about that is there would be no more need for Secret Service protection because they'd have prison official protection.
Oh yeah, no, Bureau of Prisons would take care.
Does that mean that the Secret Service would then have to have agents that are also jail guards?
I like Joe's theory.
Like, would the Secret Service guys have to do time with the president, like in that little cell?
Oh, that would suck. Oh man.
Well, Joe, I kind of like your theory.
Like they have to do time. They have to protect him on the yard.
How much does Bill have to do with this? Is Bill leaking stuff out? Because if he can get rid of her for, I don't know, 3 to 5 years, right? Think about all the quote-unquote interviews he could do for interns at the Clinton administration. It would be, the biggest political scandal to ever rock this nation.
Look, I want to bring something else up about the whole email scandal. She was talking about she has never knowingly caused to be sent any classified materials. Where this information just came out where there was confidential information that needed to be faxed to her, and she said, "Oh, strip the headings and just fax it anyways."
Right.
That shows intent.
Right. She knew.
She clearly
apologized.
Yeah.
Also come out and apologize for it. So that is an admission of guilt right there.
Well, I think her apologies were more if I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
I made a mistake, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to listen to all this dribble on the news about this.
When you tell somebody to take a top secret document, strip the heading,
and send it non-secure.
And send it on an unsecure line, you were saying that I understand this can't go this way, try to mask it as something different, and we'll take a risk.
Because it's not the headings that make something confidential or classified, it's the content. So if she said, strip the headings and strip the content and fax me the blank page, she'd probably be okay.
Right. Or if...
Yes, I could actually see that woman doing it.
Right. You can say broad. She's earned it.
Wait a minute, I can look around and make sure my wife's in bed.
Yeah, we don't want to hear any domestics going on in the background. So.
No, you'll just hear some clunking on my knees.
Joe, we're getting near the end of the show. Tell everyone about your awesome show right here on SHR Media.
Well, I got the Reaver of Common Sense Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then on Wednesday night, we have Reaver After Dark with Jersey Boys, myself, Jersey Joe, and Crash as my cohort. I'll put it that way. And pretty much the Wednesday night is just two friends having fun talking politics. Other than that, I hate it. I suck at self-promotion.
You nailed it. What are you talking about?
Come on, you're supposed to be a little more shameless than that. Talk about how smart you are and how great you are and, how you have poor taste in hockey teams, but, politically you're pretty sound. Oh, it looks like we're losing the feed here.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Losing the feed.
Weird. I
got quiet.
What happened?
I don't know.
Maybe the feds cut him out again like they like to do to our show sometimes. That's so bizarre.
That came back for a second. Hey, Jersey Joe, the Reaver of Common Sense. Make sure you check him out on Facebook and his page, Reaver.1 is his website as well. Great show, great friend. We're absolutely proud to have him on board with us.
Absolutely.
I'm so thankful you guys gave me a chance. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure,
It's
man.
It's our pleasure.
I'll let you guys finish the show. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Hey,
buddy.
take care.
Have a good
Have
one,
a good
man.
one.
Good people. Love to have him. I absolutely love to have him. He's just such a great guy. And if you haven't heard his show, honestly, you need to check it out. He does a great job. He's had some great guests, and he has some. Joe's one of those guys. He has some great mainstream topics, like what's being talked about.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, he'll kind of do the whole miss the headlines thing, where he'll pull something out and really dive into it, and it's really well.
He'll throw a
formed.
Barry Zito curveball.
He'll throw a Barry Zito
like
curveball.
in the prime Barry Zito curveball.
Whoa. That wasn't ridiculously loud whatsoever.
What was that?
I don't know.
Was that Close Encounters, the third? Was that somebody trying to make contact?
Oh, on the phone with us right now. Wait a minute. I don't know if he'll be able to hear this, but I'm almost positive it's him.
Hey, where the white women at? We ain't found shit.
Do we have Ken?
The laugh gives it away.
And I'm so happy he called in so he could tell us himself what the number one thing that he was overheard with him in attendance at the State of the Union.
You people should be very proud. You got one.
Hold on.
And there you go.
Writing that down on the list.
No, we already had that on the list. That was
You people should be proud. You got one.
You got one.
How are you, sir?
The exceptional one.
I am well. Also, the other big question was heard in the bathroom. Is it really true?
It's true.
And at which point you said, yes, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, this water is cold and deep.
For those who don't know, Ken McClinton, the Exceptional Conservative, theexceptionalconservativeshow.com, 6 o'clock on the West Coast, Monday through Friday, for his awesome show, and an attendee of the State of the Union last night. Ken, how'd you end up there, just so our listeners can know?
Well, actually, I was walking behind this white chick.
That's usually enough to get a black man attention, yes.
No, actually, she leaned up against the pole, and her purse kind of slid down her arm, and that was it. I was in, man. Then I told them, listen, I'm a conservative talk show host. And they said, no, that can't be true. Then I said, okay, well, I'm part of the serving staff. And they said, okay, go right on in.
Please go right in. Yes, sir. You know, it's almost like Steve Martin and the Jerk opposite is probably what they viewed it, right?
Exactly.
You were born a poor white child. Another one of my favorite movies.
Standing next to so many Democrats, and then some of them reaching over towards me and saying, it is so good that we actually help you learn how to say the word dream. How is it since you crossed the border? Sí, señorita. I'm very glad to be in this country. I'm ready to vote in California.
And they said, yes, we know.
Yeah, we set that up for you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, hey, Ken. And I mentioned this to you yesterday on Facebook, or Tuesday rather, about last night. Yeah, it's probably not the exact president that you'd love to sit in on the State of the Union for, but isn't it it had to be pretty awesome just as part of an American experience to be there for a State of the Union?
It was a great experience indeed. And I must say, it's funny that no Republican ever invited me to the...
Even all the ones that you interviewed that finally, that you interviewed before they got elected and then they got elected and they still no invite?
Still no invite. Hey, how you doing? When I lose my election, I'll be back on your program. No, you won't.
Oh, man.
I thank you all so much for carrying on, and I know y'all got to close, but they actually took my cell phone, so I couldn't tweet as much as I couldn't tweet at all during the speech, which was it was pretty good because I wanted to actually record all the people sleeping behind me.
So, just so I'm 100% aware, are you the only person they took a cell phone from going in there?
Well, they had to take it from a couple other white people. That way, there wouldn't be any.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
No, that's good. Otherwise, we were going to lodge a complaint.
I was going through, and I was closing the door behind me. I noticed that they were handing the phones back to those same people.
They were just paid sit-ins like they do at the Oscars.
Yeah.
They were like, "Thanks for making this look fair. Thanks for making this look fair. Thanks for making this look fair."
You are a Republican, so when these people over here stand up, you sit down.
Right.
You are a Democrat, where everybody stands up, you stand up also.
It's bad.
I felt real bad for John McCain because I don't think he hears anymore. I don't think, when people clap, that he understands that it's his turn to stand up. So it was kind of like after everybody else was clapping and then sat down, he rose up and he clapped and then he had to go back. Kind of awkward.
Well, he takes a lot of naps nowadays. He takes a lot of naps. And Ken, we gotta wrap this up, buddy.
All right.
We love you very much.
Just one other thing. Just want to say real quick.
Yeah.
I did not stand you up, Miss Deloria. Call me.
And that's the exceptional conservative Ken McClinton right here on the SHR Media Network, exceptionalconservativeshow.com. Love you, brother.
Ken.
Love you
Take
very
care, brother.
much. And there he goes.
And now, just to be fair, real quick, before we go, when I said brother, I meant that in a loving way. When you said it, it was racially charged. And I just want to point that out to everybody before
That's
we
it
go.
for the Sackheads right here on the SHR Media Network. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 on the East, 6 in the West. Check us out, shrmedia.com.
Have a good MLK Day.
Happy MLK Day. Have a great rest of your week.
The best late-night conservative talk show in America, Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here, too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late-night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio.
Sackheads
Radio.
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 The best late-night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.